It is 45 degrees and raining outside, but I'm really happy to report that I just completed my biannual NPIP testing. We're filming from the truck because the seats are heated and I am cold. The girls' bones are chilled. I need to give a huge shout out to Hallie from the Florida Department of Agriculture for coming out and performing my testing for me in these Arctic conditions, Florida Arctic conditions. For those who aren't familiar, NPIP stands for National Poultry Improvement Program. It is a nationwide program, obviously, but the conditions of the program vary from state to state. In general, though, it is a nationwide poultry monitoring program where NPIP works with the Department of Agriculture in each state to help monitor certain infectious diseases. The only thing that is true across the board for NPIP is that each state tests for pylorium typhoid and salmonella. And when they do this test, they actually do a little prick underneath the wing. They take a little bit of blood and they do the test right there in front of you. It really doesn't cause the most harm that it causes the chickens is if they have to remove a few feathers to get to the vein there. But that test is nice because you have your results like right there on the spot. And then this is not true for every state, but here in Florida, NPIP also tests for avian influenza. So that is another thing that happened for me today, is that my flock was tested for avian influenza. Now with that test, they take a Q-tip kind of thing and they do it down back in the throat, and then they send that test off. And within three-ish days, they have the result. And here in Florida, they'll notify us via email that we have passed that all as well, and then they'll mail us our new NPIP card in the mail. In order to ship hatching eggs or chicks legally across state lines, this is true across the board in any state, sellers need to be NPIP certified. And if you're wondering if somebody is NPIP certified, there is a database on the NPIP website. But you need to know that not all farms are certified. You don't need to be certified under your farm name. So I don't think I'm certified under Mojo Homestead. I think I'm certified under my name. But you can at least ask the breeder what their NPIP number is and probably look it up that way if you're interested. It's worth noting that NPIP is not required to test for things like Merrick's or MG, or really any kind of respiratory anything other than avian influenza. And like I said, even avian influenza, they don't test for in some states like Arkansas, for example, NPIP testers don't test for AI. So those breeders shipping to states that require AI testing, this is probably a whole nother video in and of itself, the different requirements of different states. But anyways, if you're shipping out of Arkansas into a state like Florida who requires that things being shipped in are tested for AI, then those breeders have to have special secondary veterinary testing done to have avian influenza testing. See, and y'all wonder why some of our hatching eggs are $75, $100 a dozen. It's because there really is a lot that goes on. It's more than just get some pretty birds and breed them. Here in Florida, we do this twice a year. I have to be tested twice a year in order to stay up to date with all of my NPIP certification. There is a couple other things that we agree to in order to be considered NPIP certified breeders. And these have to do with things like certain biosecurity measures. We agree to only purchase stock and hatching eggs from other NPIP tested breeders. We also agree to fill out a form when we are shipping eggs and chicks called the VS 9-3 form, which can be found on the NPIP website, which is the thing that the testers don't tell you about. It's a thing that a lot of us find out later when something comes down the pipe or when somebody tells us, like I'm telling you right now. And for me, finding out about that farm, well, like finding out about how to fill out that form was as simple as just messaging my NPIP tester and being like, hey, I just heard of this form 3 years in. What do I have to do to make sure that I'm filling it out? And she just gave me a login to the NPIP website and I just go fill everything out there. I am like a lot of you where I was really hesitant to invite the government onto my property when all of this started. And the reason that I even chose to become NPIP certified to begin with was because I really needed to be able to take my chicken keeping business to the next level. And in my experience with Department of Agriculture people, especially here in Florida, because at this point I've been dealing with the Department of Agriculture with my chickens for 7 years now, twice a year. And then I've also dealt with bee inspectors through the Department of Ag here in Florida. And all of the people who I've come in contact with are like very human, down to it. Actually, if I ever needed to pick up like another 9-to-5 job, I would for sure probably either want to work for the Florida Department of Agriculture or like a veterinary office. Anyways, I think I'm finally starting to thaw out now. I'm glad it's over.